Hello po, good morning everyone. Happy Friday sa inyong lahat. Pasensya na po kahapon. Nalito na talaga ako sa araw. Di ko alam, it was a Wednesday. I was recording for a Thursday pero sinabi ko na I thought para sa Friday yung episode na yon. Kaya sabi ko yun Monday. Start sana natin itong chapter 3 on Monday. But anyway, we'll start with a few verses of chapter 3 today. And anyway, dahil Friday, siguro medyo magtagal tayong konti. Okay lang naman siguro sa bawat isa. Kahapon, nakalimutan ko mag-cross-post sa Hugot Baptist for some reason then. Anyway, medyo magulo. I hope you have already shared the video. We'll start here at chapter 3. So, makita natin dito as we start chapter 3, makita natin yung hindi naman rivalry, pero yung pinaka labanan ni Haman and Mordecai. And may kita naman natin dito kung sa sports metaphor lang, ang underdog dito will be Mordecai. Dahil syempre, Haman, mababasa naman natin mamaya, is second in command. He's siya pangalawang pinaka makapangyarihan during that time. And Haman was just a simple man. But the Lord is on the side of Haman and Mordecai. The Lord is in the side of Mordecai and Haman stands no chance. Nakita natin. Anyway, we'll read verse number 1 and 2. Sabi dito, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And the king's servants that were the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. So tigil tayo doon. So we're picking up the story here in chapter 3. This is already 4 or 5 years after nung huling huling event na nakita natin last chapter. Remember that event is si Mordecai. He was able to save the life of the king by reporting yung plano ni Bigthan and Teresh to kill the king. So Mordecai saved the king's life, but we see here 4 or 5 years later, walang recognition kay Mordecai, walang promotion at all. It's not that the king doesn't want to promote him or the king doesn't want to say thank you for saving his life, because makikita natin sa in the future sa ating pag-aaral na to that the king will eventually thank Haman. But that appreciation will come at the perfect time, just the time na kailangan maalala nung king itong pangyayari na ito. And what we see here is it is God who allowed Mordecai to hear the plot against the king. It is God who allowed Esther to tell the king and to save the life of the king. And ang Diyos din ang magbibigay ng timing kung kailan ma-appreciate at kung kailan mapopromote ito si Mordecai. As you can see, everything here is God's plan. Everything is on God's perfect timing. So there was zero recognition, and makita naman natin dito kanino binigay ang recognition. Bigla na lang pumasok sa eksena itong si Haman. We may not have a lot of idea why he's promoted to be higher than all the prince during that time, but we do know kaya nakukuha sa time ng Persian ni Ahasuerus, kaya nakukuha itong mga estado na ito, mga posisyon na ito sa authority is because of riches. Dahil mayaman sila, they're buying their chair, they're buying their authority. So that means Haman bought this thing, and Haman must be very rich. And nakita natin dito, hindi lang siya basta inangat ng king, pero kinumand ng king lahat ng mga servants sa palace to bow themselves to him. That means he is the extension ng king. Remember, the king is being worshipped here as a god. So Haman is that extension of the king. And people have to bow down and worship to him as well. Pagka dumadaan siya, they have to bow down and worship him. And Haman got this in the wrong way, in the bad way. Kaya nga po, alam niyo po, kung ikaw ay masama ang iyong puso, hindi tama sa Panginoon, and then you really have a bad character, a bad attitude, pag inangat ka, pag pinromote ka, nilagay ka sa position of power and authority, you're going to abuse that. May kita naman natin dito later on that Haman eventually used his authority, used his position in order to almost annihilate all the Jews in that place during that time. Talagang yun ang ginawa niya sa kanyang position, and then it filled him with pride. Kailangan you have to bow down to me, you have to do what I want, you have to do what I say. Kaya nga po, ingat tayo. Whenever we are promoted, if we got that promotion or if we got that authoritative position of authority, and mali ang puso natin, hindi tama sa Panginoon, sisirain lang yan ang buhay natin. That is not a blessing that comes from the Lord. And later on, if you put it into contrast, pag si Mordecai na sa ending ng story ang pinromote ng Panginoon, you will see everything he did was for people, nothing selfish at all. Kaya nga po, wag tayo basta mag-pray na Panginoon, iangat niyo ako, Panginoon, bigay niyo sa akin ito. We have to pray as well na Panginoon, kung kalooban mong iangat ako. Panginoon, kung kalooban mong ibigay sa akin ang mga pagpapaalan na ito, I pray, Lord, that you prepare me, you prepare my heart, that I will not forget you, that I will learn to glorify you with this position. Later, lalo pa natin i-emphasize yan sa buhay ni Mordecai. But again, makita natin dito yung simula nung paglalabanan ni Mordecai at saka ni Haman. And makita naman natin, this is how this the world works sa panahon natin. It seems like yung mga tao naninindigan sa tama at yung mga tao na nasa tama, tayo mga believers, ay mas mababa ang antas ng buhay natin kaysa sa mga wicked people, kaysa sa mga tao na hindi tama ang ginagawa. Look at those people who are cheating in business or who are in government position. Sila yung may power, sila yung may pera, sila yung may lakas, sila yung mayroong security, it seems like. Pero tayong mga believers na nanindigan sa Panginoon, tayo parang yung laging kulang sa pera, wala naman tayong kapangyarihan and all of these things. And it's okay kung ganyan na nangyayari. Why? Because hindi naman ito yung buhay natin. We do not live in this world. This is not our home. And if you seek power in this world, if you seek authority in this world, if you seek material things in this world, then your heart is not in the right place. Kaya nga po, remember in Psalm chapter 73, when Asaph medyo nahulog siya sa ganitong klaseng kaisipan, anong sabi niya sa Panginoon? Panginoon, bakit itong mga wicked people, it seems like they have security. It seems like they have all the power. It seems like they're in good health. It seems like they have all the wealth in this world. Parang nasa kanila lahat, Panginoon. Pero nung binigyan siya ng wisdom ng Panginoon, and then he went into the sanctuary of God, anong sabi niya? Then understood I their end. Naintindihan ko kung ano ba talaga ang katapusan ng buhay nila. Surely thou did set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation as in a moment, and are utterly consumed with terrors. So sabi ni Asaph, hindi pala dapat tayo naiinggit sa mga tao na hindi naman sumusunod sa Panginoon, pero yumayaman, pero nagkakaroon ng posisyon, pero nagkakaroon ng power, pero mas nakikilala, mas sumisikat. Hindi pala dapat tayo mainggit. Why? Because they have an end that will end into destruction. Alam naman natin, kung hindi sila ligtas, they'll be in hell. And their security, their power, their authority, yung yaman nila, one click lang sa Panginoon yan, pwede mawala lahat. Sunog lang, sakit lang, COVID-19 lang. You know, however, kahit na gaano pa kakayaman, these things can kill you. There are a lot of things in this world, and makita naman natin sa kamay ng Panginoon, wala yan. Kaya nga po, huwag tayo naiinggit. Binigyan tayo ng wisdom ng Panginoon. Kung naiinggit tayo dyan, our focus is not right. Our heart is not right. Anong sabi sa Colossians chapter 3? Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Sabi sa verse number 1. If ye be then risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where God sitteth on the right hand of God. So kung tunay kang ligtas at kung tunay ka nasa Panginoon, Doon ka dapat nakafocus. Doon dapat ang puso mo sa mga bagay ng Panginoon, bagay patungkol sa Panginoon. Hindi sa yaman, hindi sa power, hindi sa kasikatan, or whatever. Doon lang sa Panginoon. Verse number 3, "For ye are dead, your life is hid with Christ in God." Yan po yung nakakalimutan natin. Dapat nung tayo naligtas, we have to realize na tayo ay patay na sa mga bagay sa mundo. Patay na tayo. Dapat hindi na tayo servants ng system ng mundo. Hindi na tayo servants ng flesh, hindi na tayo servants ng sin. We have the privilege to view things in a perspective na meron pang susunod, meron pang langit, merong impyerno. There's life with God after this life. And let's not focus on that. Kaya nga po makita natin dito kay Mordecai, he's not jealous. Hindi siya nagpo-protesta. Bakit hindi ako ang inangat? Ba't wala man lang akong promotion? Ako yung nag-save ng buhay ng king and all of these things. What? He's just humbly and slowly just living his life. Kung ano man ang kalooban ng Panginoon. And nakita natin last chapter that Haman is really not exactly in the will of God dahil sa kanyang ginagawa. But we can see here dahil gagamitin talaga siya ng Panginoon, slowly nag-i-improve yung kanyang conviction. Pero sino muna to si Haman? Kasi basta na lang siya sumingit dito sa ating storya. Sino ba si Haman? You know, Haman is an Agagite. Agagite, remember, Agag, siya yung king ng Amalekites. And remember, kung nung si King Saul, inutusan ng Panginoon na annihilate these people, wala kang ititira. Remember, Saul preserved Agag, and then some of them were able to escape, even though si Agag napatay din eventually, but some of them were able to escape. Pero nakita natin that this disobedience of Saul, kung sumunod lang siya completely sa Panginoon, wala na sana itong eksena ng Haman versus Mordecai. And yet, because of Saul's disobedience, nandito pa itong mga Amalekites na ito, these people who hated the Jews, and these Jews who hated the Amalekites. That's why they just keep on fighting and just killing each other. But this is a result of the disobedience as well of Saul. And makita natin na even our disobedience, yung ating mga bagay na mali na ginagawa, the sins that we do, they always have a way to creep in sa buhay natin. Kahit na years later na yan, kahit na matagal na natin, pinagsisihan na natin, binigyan natin sa Panginoon, we can never escape the consequences of those things. Babalik at babalik, it will rear its ugly head. So, but one interesting fact here is that Saul was a Benjamite of Kish. So, he fought against Agag, the Amalekite. Now, Mordecai is also a Benjamite of Kish. Kasi he's in the lineage of Saul, and now he's fighting against an Amalekite. So it's going to be from now on, medyo matagal-tagal, it's going to be Haman versus Mordecai. At makita natin what's the difference pag nandun ka sa side ng Panginoon at nandun ka sa side ng kaaway, and kung paanong imamanipulate ng Panginoon ang situation for His glory. But before that, I know we may be out of time a little bit, pero gusto kong ituloy. Verse number 2 to 4. Basahin ulit natin yung verse number 2. "And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him." So lahat nagbabow. Only one man is not bowing down. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Verse number 3. "Then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment?" So kinukulit na si Mordecai, bakit hindi ka nagbabaw kay Haman? Alam mong utos yan ng hari. So they're asking, we don't know how long it's been happening, but they keep on asking him. Ano yung binigay niyang sagot? "Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him." So araw-araw siyang kinukulit, bakit hindi ka nagbabaw? You're gonna be in trouble. "And hearken not unto them, that they told Haman." So nakulit na, inis na sila kay Mordecai, sinabi na nila kay Haman, "And whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them." Ito yung sagot sa kanila ni Mordecai. Sabi nila, "Mordecai, ba't hindi ka ba nagbabaw?" Anong sagot ni Mordecai? "For he had told them that he was a Jew." And why is that important? Kasi naalala nyo last chapter, Mordecai commanded Esther, wag mo ipapaalam that you are a Jew. We try na sa mga tao na ito sabihin sa kanila that we're not Jews, right? That we try to be Persians. Why? Kasi alam naman natin they hate us and they may do something bad sa atin. Pero slowly nagbabago ang conviction ng tao na ito. Kaya nga po mga kapatid, kung if you were in a state of disobedience, it's not too late. Kayang-kayang po magbago and stand for what's right. And Mordecai is not bowing down, and isa lang ang kanyang sagot. Bakit? Because I'm a Jew. It's not that Jews do not bow down to show respect. Kasi if you read the Old Testament, makita natin that even the Jews, they bow down to show respect to people of authority. So bakit hindi nagbabow down eto si Haman? Let's give a few reasons. Kasi that's why maganda rin na may history tayo para mas additional knowledge. Kasi we know that in Persia, bowing down means worship. So, kung sa Hudyo, yung bowing down means just to respect the person of authority. Kaso, pag nakita siya to bow down, yung mga Persians na nakakita sa kanya, maintindihan nila, oh, bakit nag-worship ng tao ito? So, he's not really obeying what their God is commanding them. So, dahil culturally dun sa Persia, bowing down is worship, I will not bow down. That may be one reason. And we know that the King Ahasuerus here is worshipped as a god, of course, as an idol. And Haman is a extension of that. Kaya nga, if Mordecai will bow to Haman, he's basically worshiping a false god, the king. And sabi rin sa Jewish tradition, and this may be one good reason, is that sa damit ni Haman, meron siyang embroidered doon na isang image ng idol. Kaya ayaw mag-bow down ni Haman. And those are some of the reasons. But whatever the reason is, may kita natin dito that Mordecai, kaya ayaw mag-bow down ni Mordecai, nababaliktad ko sila, sensya na. But we can see here slowly that Mordecai is starting to have conviction, starting to have a stand that I am going to stand. I am a Jew. I'm telling people now, hindi na ako magtatago, I am a Jew and I will not bow down to this man. I will not worship anyone except the God of Israel. Nagkakaroon na siya ng panindigan. And you notice, dahil unti-unti na siyang gagamitin ng Panginoon, and the Lord is helping him change his stand, his conviction, and stand for the right. You can see here that throughout all the palace, sa mga servants, siya lang ang hindi yumuyuko. What principle can we learn here? Overtime na tayo, but I don't want to stop here. What principle can we learn here? Maliwanag na makita natin that when we stand, we will always be in the minority. Or maybe, like Mordecai, you will find yourself na nag-iisa ka na lang. Ikaw na lang ang naninindigan. Whether that be in school, hindi ako sasayaw, hindi ako mananamit ng malaswang pananamit, even though required yan. Why? Because I know what my Father in heaven's will is for me, and kahit na anong gawin nila sa akin, siya ang susundin ko. This man can just affect my education, so what? I have God on my side. Kaso nga lang po, sa panahon ngayon, hindi na natin kayang mag-stand. Most of the time, nagko-compromise tayo. Konting sayaw lang naman yan. Requirement kasi, kailangan kong gawin sa school. I have to do this or else hindi ako mag-graduate or else babagsak ako sa subject na ito. Napakaliit na bagay. Look at Haman. Look at the people in the Bible who stood for what's right. Daniel and the Hebrew children, they were in the minority. And even if they will be killed, thrown into the fiery furnace, ihagis sa den of lions, they don't care. Why? Because I'm going to follow my God. Look at the early believers. They were being persecuted. They were being hunted down. Kung anong ginagawa nila sa kanila. And yet they will say, I will stand for my God. I will stand para sa aking Panginoon. And I will never compromise my faith. Sa ngayon, ano yung problema mo? Bagsak lang ng grade? Wala na. Mawalan ka lang ng trabaho? Compromise na? Ganun po tayo kababaw ang Christianity ngayon. And yet, let Haman found himself alone. I just want you to give a few principles kung ano ang difference ng standing for what's right with conviction kesa dun sa pagko-compromise. When you are standing for the right conviction sa Panginoon, you have stability. Bakit? Alam ko na dito ako tatayo. Kahit ano mangyari, dito ako tatayo. Kahit na ano pang mangyari, dito lang ako. So, meron kang stability. Hindi ka nagbabago-bago. That is a good thing. Whereas, if you're a compromiser, you don't know where to stop. Sa ngayon, ako compromise ko lang, ay sige, sayaw ng konti, pananamit ng konti, magtrabaho ako ng Sunday, go to this place, even though alam ko na it may affect me spiritually. Konti-konting compromise lang. Pero, ang danger dyan, where will it stop? Paano kung pataas ng pataas yung antas ng compromise na ino-offer sa'yo ng dyablo? Hindi mo na alam kung paano kang titigil and you find yourself outside the will of God. Na hindi lang basta sa sarili mo, security sa sarili mo, pero security din do sa mga tao that are na nakapaligid sa'yo. Kung pamilyado kang tao sa pamilya mo, at least they know, they are sure na meron kang paninindigan and hindi ka magbabago-bago. Kesa naman yung asawa mo, mga anak mo, hindi alam kung anong decision mo. Every time na merong darating na decision or decision that you have to make, they don't know if you're going to make a decision for God or for the world. Stand with your conviction or magko-compromise ka. Ang hirap. Kung puro compromise ang buhay mo, kahit yung mga tao sa paligid mo, they're not gonna have stability. What else? Kung meron kang stand sa Panginoon, you're gonna have peace. Why? I know what I'm doing is right. Kung meron akong conviction, I'm standing for the right conviction, I have peace with God, I have the peace of God because I know what I'm doing is right. Or else, kung nagko-compromise ka, there's not going to be peace sa buhay mo. And another thing is that hindi ka mag-grow spiritually if you keep on compromising. Why? You will never experience the favor of God. You will never experience yung working ng Panginoon sa buhay mo. Nakatulad dito, mama ni Mordecai, may kita natin, because of his stand, the Lord is going to do something wonderful in his life. Tinatanggal mo na yung mga bagay na yun sa buhay mo. Why? You keep on compromising. Kaya nga po, I hope that's a big help sa inyo. I know sobrang tagal ng ating devotion today, but I hope it's a blessing po. So see you all, totoo na ito, on Monday. God bless.